Hello and welcome all of you to my YouTube channel Animals and Pets with Partha. This morning I have decided to talk to you on stray dogs. A subject which I always wanted to address in a big way. But in my small ways I have tried to address the situation wherever I could. And I've been a keen observer about the life of stray dogs in our country and especially in my city. Way back in 1976, I must make a mention of this particular incident. At that time I was in the dog world. I already was inducted into the dog world and was showing my dogs. A very famous international judge from UK, Mr. Stanley Dangerfield, a celebrity, a very well-known personality who has a published encyclopedia of dogs which is world famous. He has been on BBC more than 250 times talking about pets, dogs particular. And he happened to come to India to judge the Calcutta Kennel Club show at the Maidan. So when he went back to UK, they have a magazine called the Our Dogs, which is very famous. And usually the famous judges who go around the world, they write a report on wherever they've gone. So the readers of Our Dogs come to know about what is going on around the world regarding dogs. So after he went back, he wrote a paragraph on India. He writes, India without its eastern glamour is a sad place. But alas, not much glamour left now. The show was held on those endless lawns which was once the jewels in the crown of the British Raj. Then later he writes, I made my way through winding lanes and I saw many stangy and mangy curs. But alas, the dogs at the show were of good condition. Of course, these words from this Britisher, a famous personality, a very respected individual of course, and a knowledgeable person, and a journalist. He laced his words in sarcasm. Anyway, that was the incident that he focused on, that about the stray dogs, the curs. 45, 46 years later, things have got even worse. So, those words have stuck to my heart and I'm never going to forget it. And when I go out of the streets today, I see the roads in Calcutta full of strays. Some with wounds, most of them suffering, most of them undernourished. It is a very sad state of affairs. What have we done to address this for so many years? We have done so much for our society. We claim that we have changed so many things, but we have not been able to change the lives of these poor, hapless, stray animals. Sad indeed. On the heartening side, I must make a mention that numerous people, numerous youngsters especially, their heart goes out for these stray dogs. They want to do something. Many of them go out of their way. They feed the stray dogs from their pocket money. Many of them take them to doctors, hospitals for treatment and things like that. But what do we do as a society, what have we really planned for them? Do we have something working for them so that the numbers get reduced, so that they are sterilized, so that they are vaccinated, so that we see less of these dogs suffering? We don't see a whole litter of stray puppies being born and then most of them get run over by cars, and you're left with 2 or 3 still that grow up to be big enough and start producing again. Yes, we do have many NGOs. I have been to some of them, and I can tell you that I was once in Jaipur and in Durgapura. I had gone to a shelter, a pet stray animal shelter. And believe me, it was managed by 2 Australian couple. And it was one of the finest shelters that I have seen managed in India. I'm sure there must be many more. India is a very vast country with 28 states and 8 union territories. I haven't been to most of them. But I keep information. I'm sure in most of the other states the situation is not as bad as you see in Calcutta. But here, everywhere, the stray dogs are multiplying, unchecked. But what we have in place is government agencies who are sterilizing some dogs every day, I'm told. Then there are other many NGOs who are getting funded. And I've been to some of them, and believe me, it is pathetic when you go to see these shelters and how they operate. Early on, in the early 80s, when I started my clinic, and I came in contact with many surgeons and doctors. And even then, we knew that there were a lot of these NGOs and government agencies who were actually sterilizing these stray dogs, spraying them, castrating the males. But there were certain terms that I came to know about, that how they operate, and the stories that I came to know were not very happy ones. And I have not forgotten them. There I learned that for an NGO who operates on stray dogs, a surgeon who can move, who means when he operates, and most of the dogs that he operates die on the table. That is called DOT, death on table. He is a very valued surgeon, very much in demand. Because, see, each of these dogs have an amount allocated for surgery, which includes the surgery and the aftercare. Now, if a dog dies on the table, it goes on record that a dog has been operated. The money comes, but there is no further expenditure on that dog. It's called DOT, death on table. Well, I was heartbroken that, how can people be so cruel to this voiceless? Then you have NGOs who will collect all lame and, handicapped dogs from all around the city. They will even make a video of them all, as if they are taking care of them 365 in 24 into 365, but they are not. It is only for that video and that photography and that all that is being done. Maybe a show is organized and they are all exhibited, and then they again go back to their own territories where they are left onto the streets to fend to themselves. Their life doesn't, but the people who have done all this, their life changes. It's big money. Can we not put an end to it? Can we not focus on this? Should we all not visit all these shelters, see how they are performing. Even if required, why don't we expose them? Why don't we videograph them? We are not police. We are not the administration to take stock of them. But we can sort of bring it to the public eye that this is what is happening. The people who are involved in this, they do not want to get rid of the stray dogs. They do not want to end the treacherous life these poor animals are facing. They want the numbers to keep growing, so the money keeps flowing. And the industry, and the huge industry built on stray dogs and the money that is flowing in, and all these shelters that are busy, or they claim to be busy. You go and look at the shelters, see what feed they give to the dog. You will not like to go back again. You will cry if you're an animal lover. But you will feel helpless, you can do nothing. It is being done in front of the administration, the eyes of the administration. Not that I know it and others don't. We have to do something. I have been to shelters even abroad, in South Africa, in Durban, in many other places. I know how they function. When I go there, I go there to learn, to see, to enlighten myself. But when I come to my country, especially to my city, and when I visit the shelters, I do not visit them regularly at all because I feel so heartbroken that I cannot afford to. I'm aging also. I'm 65. Being so close, dogs have been so close to my heart. And when I see that I'm helpless and I cannot do anything for them, it pains me. But I will appeal to the younger generation who today, most of the younger generation that I found out, because I still run a clinic, and they really feel for these strays. There's so many of them that come to me, and if anything that I can do from my part, which I can afford to do, I always do it. My advice to them is always free. I never charge them a rupee. And if I get any medicine or dog food or something which is complimentary to me, I try and give it away. Even my old stock, I always give it to the stray dogs. But that is not enough. Not at all. One more incident before I conclude. It's happened to me. I was involved, and me and my wife, we had to tackle the situation, and I think we did it very well. We had started a business in one place, a shop, a confectionery shop. And I had to visit that place every day. In the evenings when I went, that area was very congested and crowded. I realized suddenly that some young boys, school-going boys, was chasing stray dogs and beating them with sticks. And all the strays just screaming and running helter-skelter, and this group of young boys chasing them around. I didn't know what to do. I was surprised. Then I inquired, what is this happening? Then they said that these young boys in the evening when they they're all school-going boys. Many of them go to English medium school, very renowned school. I won't like to mention them. But it is the area and the community and the atmosphere, they have not been taught to be compassionate towards animals. So they get an hour or so to play, say, come out. And the friends get together and they like to beat the stray dogs while the stray dogs, all the strays, start running and screaming. I know I cannot complain. If I put the complaint anywhere, they will come to know, and I would be confronted with people that who am I to complain? Because they are only going, beating stray dogs. They're not doing anything to you. Why I say this? Because I don't like to go into any further detail, but I'm sure I would have been I would have been confronted by the parents of those boys, and I would be able to solve the situation, and I would make life hell for myself in that place. I realized that I need to think of some way how I could end this treacherous situation, which was being the treachery that was being meted out to this hapless, voiceless stray dogs in that area. The young children, who were school-going children, they enjoyed at the helpless screams of these poor animals, and we couldn't stand it. Me and my wife decided we had to think of some way. Fortunately, without going into confrontation with anybody, because if we stopped them, if we scolded them, if we went to the administration, I knew matters would become very worse for us, because we had to run our business and we couldn't shift out. And it's not that we are passing through, but we are there in that locality, and we are going to be confronted with people who would come and tell us that what does it matter to me if they are beating the stray dogs or not ours. If they would even come to tell us that why don't you take all these stray dogs and keep and feed them, then we are not going to, then you have authority to say that whether our children are beating them or not is not your concern. This is the society that we live in, and if we are not all concerned, the animal-loving people don't, come out with their observations, we shall not know the problem. So then how did I solve this problem? I realized that when they start beating these dogs, the animals start running, and they run for shelter. And beside me, I had the shop, my property, there was a big gate, and the animals would try to enter there. And my people, the people who lived in that property, they would close the door and they wouldn't allow the stray dogs to enter, because what they realized is all these stray dogs entering, they would save themselves, but they would sort of dirty the area, maybe. So they closed the door when this thing happened, and when these dogs started getting beaten. So when the doors were closed, they wouldn't have any other place to go, and they would be beaten from all sides by sticks. I firmly went to them and said, you have to keep the gate open just as much so that the dogs can enter, nobody else can. And so we did that all the time. The moment one dog got struck, it started screaming, all the dogs started running, and they all came to my property, and we let them in. Once they came in, nobody else was allowed to enter. So what happened, every day, these young children, when they came out with the sticks to enjoy, enjoy the screams of these hapless animals, they realized in 5 minutes their game was over, because all the dogs would be inside my property, and they had no way that they could hit them. So 10 days later, young boys as they are, they forgot this. They went to they thought of some other games. So I'm very happy to say that the children there do not do this anymore, because the property is still there, and my people are, the gatekeeper is told that if at all such thing happens, he should allow the dogs to enter for temporarily so that they can save themselves. And I have information that such incident hasn't occurred since then. So, through my YouTube channel, I like to appeal to everybody, all animal lovers, whenever there is cruelty or there is good work, a lot of these NGOs do also, some of them really do wonderful work. They are really serving these hapless animals. Please come forward with videos which I can upload, and then we can have information. After all, this is one country. So why should the animals, the stray animals in one state suffer more than the stray animals in another state? No, it shouldn't be that. We should have a uniform policy. We should have a check on this. And we should all be vigilant that the NGOs do function. After all, they're taking money, and they're, in the name of these poor voiceless animals, they are minting money and not giving the required service to these animals. So with this I end, and I have touched a subject which is been a pain to me for years and years together. And in 1976, what this Britisher pointed out, today the situation is even worse. We have not been able to do enough for the stray animals. Thank you, and see you again in my next video. Bye for now.